Welcome back to another 10 Talk. We have back in the studio Miss Emily Price, and
Glad to be here.
We're going to talk to you today about something that I presented as a talk to our faculty. And we're focusing this year on the virtue of joy with our faculty, with our students. And we invite you as parents as well to focus on this virtue of joy, or the spirit of the Holy Spirit, the fruit of the Holy Spirit of joy.
So close.
And it is something that I think we should all live in our lives. And we want to give you some tips that will help you to bring that joy into your daily life and to live in that way as you go through the year. So we have a 2-part series, 3 points in each of the talks for these next 2 10 talks. And we're going to start with the first one. Which one did you choose, Miss Price?
I chose number 1, start your day blessed.
Okay, so this one has to do with something I remember I heard in the seminary early on in my formation. And it's the idea that if we start our day asking for God's blessing, consecrating our day to Him, what could go wrong, right? Basically, that if you're going through your day and you've already asked Him for that blessing upon everything that you do, upon your work, upon your study, upon the things that you will encounter, the people you will encounter during the day, then you're going to find joy in that because it's something that God gave to you. Even if it's sacrifices, even if it's difficulty, you're going to find joy. So one example to that I thought was especially fitting, Mother Teresa of Calcutta was taking care of an older woman.
I love this story.
And she was, suffering a lot. She was sick in bed and probably at the end of her life. And so Mother Teresa turns to her and says that all this suffering that you're experiencing, all these pains you're experiencing, that's simply Jesus giving you kisses. See, Jesus loving you, right? And she turns back to Mother Teresa, and probably as many of us would, and she says to Mother Teresa, well, tell him to stop kissing me, right? So the sacrifices that come, and probably Mother Teresa's intention was all good, and the consolation didn't come, but I think we understand as well, if it is something that God is giving to us, it's going to bring us to greater holiness. So be blessed in your daily life by starting your day with God, allowing Him to be in that first moment, stealing it away from the devil who also wants that first moment. So very important. Any thoughts you want to add to this? Joy in the first one. Why was it a point that you thought was especially fitting for?
Great idea, Father. Thank you for asking. Well, I chose it honestly because I think this is one of the areas that I struggle the most with, especially being someone who isn't an easy morning person, who dreams of being an easy morning person but isn't. Consecrating those first few moments of my day is hard. And I'm also the type of person that thinks, well, if I can't put half an hour in, then why try anyways?
Yeah. How many of us struggle, with getting out of bed in the morning, right? That's one of the hardest things, the hardest challenges of the day is just to get started, right? And so I also had the idea, consecrating that first moment of the day might mean for you, it might be getting out of bed in the morning. It might be while you're having breakfast in the morning. It might be on your drive on the way to school. And maybe you end up bringing your kids in with this consecration as well, so that they learn the habit of offering that first moment of the day to the Lord. So I think the most important thing is to make sure you're offering the day, hopefully sometime earlier in the morning than later, right?
11:59.
But helping you to make sure that your day is truly blessed. Right?
Yeah,
so
I like that. And I like that it doesn't have to be, it's not like you're expected to do an hour of adoration at 6 a.m.
Exactly.
Maybe you're called to that, but it can just be at breakfast.
Just bring some blessings into your day. All right.
We're ready for the second one?
Let's hear it.
Second one.
What did you choose?
Point number 2 is journaling or recapping your day.
And so this one, I know several people who use journals to capture their ideas, to help them to reflect. And it is my understanding that the more senses we put into something, the more we get out of it. Say, taking notes in class, right? How many in university tried to commit everything to memory that they're hearing? And, at first it's going well, I'm remembering everything. And then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, it's all jumbled mess and I don't remember anything at the end. Whereas if you end up taking notes about the things that you're learning through the day or the things that you are taught in your class, you can actually go back in your memory and you remember them, right? You need that space for more relaxed thought in order to understand what's going on, right? And so if we apply that to our spiritual life, God's teaching us all day long. He's teaching us new things. He's trying to reveal new things to us. And if we try to just commit it to memory, by the end of the day, we're done, right? Just like the beginning of the day, we're done. Well, at the end of the day, again, it's like everything escaped.
Yeah.
But if we kind of take mental notes throughout the day and then take some time to journal or recap at the end of the day, how helpful it is to our spiritual life to do an examination that actually has an impact on our lives, right? It's a difficult thing to get going. I know for one, I'm not the best at journaling. So one thing that I have tried to do is in my nightly examination of conscience to go over my day and say, okay, what has gone well? What has not gone so well? And how can I be better tomorrow? Right. And so you thank God for the good things. So you don't start off on a depressing note of, all my sinfulness, right?
Yeah.
First, you think about all the good things that went well and all the ways that God was working in your life. And then you think about, okay, well, what haven't I done as well as I could have and actually had the power and the capacity to do, but I just didn't do it, right? And then you come out with a resolution, right? What do I want to do better tomorrow? And how can I make this a change so that I am growing in holiness when I move into the next day?
Yep.
So there's some ideas. Maybe you want to talk about the journals,
Oh, yeah.
because
Yeah.
you had some ideas on that one.
Yes, I did. Actually, it's not truly me. A friend of mine did. We were talking about this before.
You can own it.
Thank you. It's not copyrighted. But anyways, one idea that we had was that as a family, what you could do is you could go out to the dollar store. Their journals are super cheap at Dollarama. It's not a big expense, and each of your kids could pick out a journal. And then at the end of the day, you could do your examine of the day, the what went well, what didn't go so well, and how can I be better? You could do that together as a family for 5 minutes at the end of the day. Everyone pulls out their journals. It's like official journal time, and then you start going. And just personally, I love journaling. I have found that if I'm consistent with my journaling, my prayer time is more meaningful.
Yeah, it's so true. And then as well with that journal, I think if you pick something that you actually enjoy and spend that little extra money on it, you're going to use it more, right? You're going to say, okay, this is my journal that I use for growing in my spiritual life. And it's going to become something that you use more frequently. But in order to do that, you actually have to commit that extra effort to it and then leave it at your bedside or leave it wherever you do your journaling. Maybe you have a prayer corner at home, but to turn it into something that you turn to frequently. And that will help you to make this a good habit and bring joy in your daily life, right?
Ba-bam.
All right. Point number 3.
Point number 3 is, are you ready for it? Learn to say no. Go.
This is a tough one, right? This is a tough one for us. We like to do everything that comes across our plate. We are very generous people. And that's what I generally have found in our community is that everybody wants to contribute, to give of themselves, that at the end of the day, we may end up finding ourselves exhausted because we've just committed to so much. Even if it's only mentally, we have put in our mind that we have so much to do that we end up burnt out in some way, right? So learning to say no really isn't about being negative or pessimistic. It's about saying no so that you can say yes to the things that are important in life. And I found this as a very important thing in my personal self-care in my daily life, and just to know that I can't give myself to everything, even though I am called to give myself generously, right? And that we all as Christians are called to give ourselves generously. It's a balancing act, right? It's something that we always have to have a holy tension that's pushing us to be generous, but also has to remember that if I'm not at my tip-top shape, then I'm going to actually be less than perfect in my giving of myself to others, right? So this is something we all have to learn, and it's something that generous people especially struggle with. You could go to the other extreme and say, well, there's people who always say no to everything, right? And never go on any of these experiences and push themselves out of the circle of those who want to contribute to their lives and could be good influences on them. So it can go both ways, but I think in general, it's a good thing to be able to say no to something, knowing that you're saying yes to maybe 2 or 3 other things, even if that other thing is that I have a meeting with my pillow. right? You need your rest at night, right? So making sure that you're not committing to too many things. Maybe there's outings with friends and family, and you say, you know what, this weekend, I need to have the weekend off. Maybe you have one weekend a month that you just say, you know what, this one is, block it out because I'm going to take my rest weekend. And that will truly give you something called rejuvenation and life and energy to continue in your daily life, right?
Those are even possible?
If you take a weekend off every now and then, it's definitely possible. Yeah. So yeah, and it's a struggle, right? Every one of us has that struggle in trying to balance life, but these are ideas that hopefully truly bring some deep and profound joy in your daily life.
We hope you enjoyed this, and we will see you next time for the next 3 points.
Thank you for being with us, and have a joyful week ahead. God bless.